Hello guys, it's 899 here. Welcome to today's video, and today we're going to be going through our tips and predictions for round 18 of the NRL season. The final massively affected round before State of Origin Game 3, the decider. So only about 5 matches, but some quite interesting ones to say the very least. So without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off on Friday night, we have the Canterbury Bulldogs up against the Brisbane Broncos. The Bulldogs are coming off a close loss to the Panthers in what a lot of people have been saying was the best game of the season. It was, very close competitive matches, if you like to see. And Brisbane are coming off a third straight win with a 26-12 victory over the New Zealand Warriors. This match is going to be quite interesting to see how it predicts, because obviously the Bulldogs have been heavily affected in terms of origin selection. Could be even a bit more by the time it comes later down the line. Brisbane also a little bit affected by it, so it could be quite interesting to see what two teams are fielded for this. It's going to be a very close affair personally, whether it's either the Bulldogs or the Broncos winning. I'm going to go a little bit against the grain. I'm going to say I think the Broncos might just win. It'll be very close. Or probably definitely by 4, something along those lines. But yeah, now we move on to the Saturday games at 5:30 p.m. We have the Canberra Raiders up against the St George Illawarra Dragons. The Raiders are coming off a win over the Knights in the last round. They did get the job done, pretty much done in the first half, but then sort of fell a bit and let the Knights back into the game, whilst the Dragons snapped a 2-game losing streak, got a victory over the Parramatta Eels. Was quite a close game until the eventual, Lomax tries to offload the ball back. It gets picked up by Valentine Holmes and runs over and scores. And so in one foul swoop, the Dragons removed the Parramatta Eels out of contention for the match, just as much as they did John Claude off Instagram. Free my boy. Free the brethren. Now this is going to be quite interesting to see how the Dragons do come up in this game, because if they get the win, they could sneak themselves into the top 8, barring several results. But I just think Canberra are way too hot at the moment, and they're not going to be affected at all by Origin to an extent. Maybe Horsburgh and Hudson Young are probably the only real players. But yeah, it's going to be, I think, smooth sailing here for the Raiders. And now we go into the 7:35 match for Saturdays. You have the North Queensland Cowboys up against the Melbourne Storm. The Cowboys have snapped a losing streak with a lot of pressure on Todd Payten. They got the win over the Titans. It was ugly, but they did get the jump, so they've done the double over the Gold Coast. Whilst the Melbourne Storm are coming off their 4th straight win, beating the Sharks 30 points to 6, because Elise Katoa is God. It's important now that teams are starting to find consistency, because besides from Canberra and the Bulldogs to an extent, there really hasn't been that much this season. So it is very important for teams like, Melbourne and Penrith now starting to build up these results. And I'm going to be completely honest, I just don't really see the Cowboys winning this. I understand this is probably going to be clipped into some montage when the Cowboys do inevitably win, but I just think the Storm are going to be too good, too hot firing. Breads for Suafalogo for that hamstring, because that was ugly to watch. But yeah, I think the Storm should be able to get the job done here. Now finally move into the Sunday games. We're at 2 p.m. We have the Roosters taking on the West Tigers. Now, Roosters coming off a bye, and in their last match was them putting the Cowboys to the, I can't say sword because the chicken coop or something, I don't know. 42 points to 8 in round 16, whilst the West Tigers still just cannot find a win as they go down 28 points to 10 to Manly. It is very important for the Tigers to get the win, because if they want to avoid the bottom 4 situation, they need to win. However, a lot of the teams that they're kind of around at the moment do have buys. For example, Parramatta, Newcastle, Gold Coast all have buys this round, so they kind of need to win. Unfortunately for them, the Roosters are on fuck you mode, so basically it's going to be a massive whitewash. And also as well, you got to think of the Tigers key players being Jerome Luai. It's I just don't really see the Tigers being that much of a factor in this game. I think the Roosters are going to win. Finally, at 4 or 5 p.m, you have the Manly Sea Eagles taking on the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Manly got the job done over the West Tigers. So Manly currently right on the knocking on the door of the top 8. Whilst the South Sydney Rabbitohs are coming off another loss in a 50-28 defeat to the Dolphins. So currently going into form, the Rabbitohs have equal with the Tigers, having the worst form in the last 5 matches. I just don't really know what is going to be the plan for South Sydney, especially when it comes to some of the players are just going to be unavailable for Origin, as well as I know they've had a massive, horrible injury crisis, but it's just, yeah, it's probably going to get a bit worse here. And I think Manly, with most of their talent being held on to, I think this is going to be a pretty seismic match as Manly want to set themselves into the top 8. I think Manly are going to win, and they're going to win badly. And those are my tips for this round. Who do you guys have? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all later.